in our universal building. Power, equality, law, see everything. Peace.
Peace so much.
This is the power
That's a great dude.
from my wisdom, the power, my will is God. My power, as I have demonstrated throughout my reign and career in the nation of gods and earth, otherwise known as the 5%, the power on the fourth part of the planet Earth has been stellar, exemplary. And I say that for the benefit of those that don't know the bill in the past. And the bill in the past has been dynamic from day one of getting the knowledge, applying it as taught by Almighty God Allah. You get the knowledge, you make that knowledge born by borning it to others. Hopefully you'll be qualified to teach 9 others that can be turned later in your cipher, your first 9 born. Sometimes it happens like that, sometimes it doesn't. For me, it happened first with my family. I gave it to them. All of them accepted the knowledge, even the Old Earth. Her name was Old Earth Mall. Was one of the first to take it to Pilar and raise in Pilar and brought it back to Mecca, to Allah. That distinguished me from Shahi. Shahi was an older god who was in Pilar, who got the knowledge from Allah, and he was one of the first. He was living in Pilar, but he didn't bring nothing out of Pilar back to Allah. Unlike me, I went to Pilar and brought it back to Mecca, to Allah. So you can see the true and living from the root of our civilization, not taken somewhere else and degenerated, negated, or taken away. It was always about building. So everything that we did was from the perspective of building. And everything in building, you always accentuate the positive. And accentuating the positive, that means you step forward first with the knowledge of a foundation of knowing who, what, when, and where, and how. Knowing what you're talking about. In this present day and time, there's so many rumors in existence for the simple reason a lot of people don't really know our way. A lot of people really do not apply our science as Allah taught it. Allah used to tell us to have a partner so you can have a witness. A black seed and a brown seed. Or a brown seed and understanding seed. Or a knowledge seed and understanding seed. You had a partner, a witness. So if something occurred between you and others, you got somebody to tell the story for you if you can't go back and tell it yourself. You got somebody also there to get your back. And you got somebody to build a bond with as a brother. We had a brotherhood. We wasn't those who told lies amongst each other, accusing one another and causing confusion to fight and kill each other. Peace. Say bond? Oh, damn, I'm sorry, Osini. Peace. Or fighting and accusing one another of devilishment. We the righteous nation of God and earth. So our pure application is that of righteousness. Where all this devilishment come in our midst, that an individual could tell a lie on a righteous person and not be confronted right there on the spot. Simply, whatever you telling me, did you tell that person you're talking about first? And if they say now, cipher, or no, then you know they telling a goddamn lie, and they supposed to go back first to that person and tell them, confront the issue. You know what the government said? That Allah was the best in human relationship in regards to face-to-face confrontation, that he was about truth and righteousness. You couldn't tell a lie in his presence. You couldn't tell a lie on nobody. Not even the devil. You couldn't even come and tell a lie about the goddamn devil. I know I was there with him, being taught by him, given the instructions on how to master the devil's civilization, not be a victim, not be a tool or a slave, taking things on face value. That's a pitiful condition that we are in today. We take stuff on face value, and we got to stop that, eliminate that. And the reason why I'm coming from this perspective is because many is taking the lie of somebody that's really persona non grata in our nation. Somebody who committed one of the most detrimental sins in the nation. Allah say God don't kill God. But we got somebody that is influential in our nation by virtue of being editor of a paper, but stand accused of killing God. A firstborn, nevertheless. And by his fleeing is a admission of his guilt, because he's not here to defend it and stand on his square. So I'm speaking about it only because he talks about a lot of things that ain't true, never have been true, never will be true, and nobody question him on it, that be in communication with him. I'm not in communication with him, but there's others in communication with the brother, and they don't confront him about the issue. Allah say God don't kill God. Why you accused of killing God and not defending yourself in God's cipher amongst the nation of gods and earth? Running and hiding. Allah never ran, never hid, and never will. And I'll give you the example. He came on 7th Avenue and taught his nation. Got shot in the basement, 127, recuperated from that wound, came back to 7th Avenue, got arrested on 7th Avenue, persecuted in Manawa, Bellevue, and the Tombs, came back after 22 months, and came right back to Mecca and built a school. Never ran, never will. And the night he got assassinated, the devils that followed him and assassinated him followed him from the school. And as I'm saying, my point is, Allah never ran, never will. So whoever runs, sure ain't following Allah's example. We stand on our square and show and prove that Allah is God, always has been, and always will be. There's a great issue rising in the nation in regards to building. Not insinuating anything else other than building. And we talked about building on the property of a law school in Mecca, which is by measurements of 100 square feet by 125 square feet. The whole property. People have many questions about that, but they didn't do research. I did the research. Scholars that has qualified themselves by following the laws and structures. And you get the knowledge yourself. You don't have a high school diploma, get a GED, and go on to college. Get some skills, some trades, and profession. And many of us done that. And many of us became professionals, experts in our field. And added to that instruction that Allah gave us, that after we went and got that information, come back and build in your nation. And that's what many of us did. And one of the aspects that we build in is architecture, mechanical design engineering, real estate, and the like. We have useful land by a perimeter of 12,500 square feet. We have investigated through studying on our own Not nobody coming to us other than ourselves and saying, yeah, you got good property. Oh, yeah, you got good valuable land. Why don't you help us get this? Why don't you do this and do that? No. On our own, we observe by doing the knowledge and investigating. Mathematically massing the block 1932, the lot 29, and research on our own. We got an architect out here in the field somewhere. We got a mechanical design engineer. We got a real estate broker, a PhD, a business administrator, a building superintendent, of advanced physical plants and systems like you and me. Not no devils, not anybody other than ourselves, our own. We came up with a plan on our own, doing for ourselves, despite what anybody says. We came up with a plan. We came up with the idea. And as we came up with the idea, we know that it couldn't be born in the fruitation without bringing it to the nation first. And that's what we did. I would have been here at the last parliament, but I was in another state. So beloved came on our behalf, beloved Allah, and made initial presentation. And we agreed that we would make 3 presentations. One to knowledge at the God Parliament, wisdom at the Law of God Parliament today, and 3 to understanding. Say we call the power true Parliament. We'll be able to sit down and after having information of the project, we'll be able to discuss the viability of actually doing the project. The project is a 7-story building. You've heard this for many years over a period of years. I think we presented it back in 2004, 9 years ago, almost 10 years. 7-story building based upon having a school, affordable housing, and some commercial projects. All right? Commercial and affordable housing would sustain the school. The school is not a profit making picture. The school is a school, an expansion of the law school in Mexico. But it has to be sustained with the finance. And the finance is affordable housing, growing property, and commercial real estate property. That's what we generate. And we'll be able to sustain a school of 7 stories. All right? So the plan for architectural design of a pro forma would let the idea work. And we got pro bono services of full spectrum. Pro bono means for the good of the people, for the good of the client. So it's free to get this service because one of our brothers has worked with these people for a number of years and high quality rates. Because it's one of the major architectural firms. As the rating is, out of the last 500 ratings, this firm is one of the top 10, all right, of architectural firms. New York, Hong Kong, Boston, and another place. I don't recall. Anyway, we're dealing with the best of the best from amongst us. We ain't talking about dealing with no sloppy. I ain't talking about the average guard on the corner. Those properties, I know, but I can be on the corner. drinking wine with the average guard. That was 35, 40 years ago. I'm not on the corner today drinking wine with the average guard. 40 and 50 years. You know, I'm an executive today. And I work as an executive. All in shot. Not just for the law school in Memphis, but in Chelsea. They treat white people. Y'all don't know that. Prestige newspaper made, hard to see. You see me, this guy right here, in the place of these teachers, over the adults, right? iPad technology. He's doing things. I'm just expressing that to show you the expertise of members of the nation. Okay, so now, we're at the point where we get the performance. Our ideas, architecturally, would work. 7-story building, affordable housing, rent, you pay for the school, purchase space, add more money, our cost. Mind you, this land is conducted ideas. In order for it to be conducted, we have to execute according to one of the performers that we pay over. It's not the end all, the results of all. It's the idea of performer. So in that performer, still have open space for perfection of the performance. One of the ideas that came up lately was because people took the idea in the 80s and they cried. Oh, they're going to destroy law school in Mecca. Oh, goddamn fool. You will never destroy law school in Mecca. That was never the idea. It was to build a law school in Mecca. And the idea that came out of that is people cried, how can we preserve some of the old buildings that is there today? That's what's in the proposal. An idea to preserve some of them. Talk about 125-year-old building that seems today with a lot of deterioration and repairs of deterioration. So consideration is, would it be worth it? The sentiment values, the numbers diminished or depreciated. This will always be the traditional values, the numbers diminished or depreciated. This will always be there. I was taught there, I taught there, I slept there, I ate there, I built there, I defended there, but I never ran from there. Never, ever. That's my legacy. And now we're talking about building there. We're talking about building, 12,500 square feet perimeter, times 7. You come up with about 22,000 square feet. Each square foot, $8,000. 85, 70,000, you might get a figure of the value of the building. Right now we're talking about $25 to $30 million. Okay? We came this far, and finally, one of the guards came forth that got the power of financial wizardry. You know how to get money. We've been working in the real estate, the banks, own real estate, homes, and stuff of that nature. That, you might say rich people got their due. And we've been quietly in the shadows until time came for some productive, constructed building came forth where maybe we can add this financial wizardry to something that the nation is doing. And that was the building project that allowed school to make. So this brother came forth and introduced us to the finance. You know what the best finance is in things. All right? So he talks about construction only. And building schools through construction authority. We use grants go to the housing is going to give you grants. Grants is not like the nature of a loan. The loan you got to pay back with interest. It's principal interest. With a grant, that's yours because the money is your tax money. That's a group or individual that's stepping up to your tax money with a good idea. And you got good ideas. So we'll be able to use our tax money. I got grants from our school. We didn't have to pay a penny back. The person that gave us the grant, I told the come to school and look at what the grant money cost. They wasn't even interested in even coming and look what we did. We said we were going to do this, we did it. They wasn't even interested. Just to show you, once they grant you the money, they gone about their business. We got a whole other political process on that for themselves. So we could get grants, loans, and money that we can come up with. But the project is very gloomy now. All right, I think I just gave you a base of it. We can get into a little more detail. I can ask you some questions. I think before the group will development project begins. So you can see that it's not a one-man show or one-woman show. It's God's word. It's been in the nation after 40 years. And come back and using the expertise to come back and build what I say is a legacy of our own. So we used to build pyramids as a nation. We used to build great monuments as a nation. But we don't have one place in America that we can say as a nation and we build the monument. This may be the first opportunity that we can go about to build this business of building on a large legacy to build a monument from a school to a law, which is listened to housing and real estate and retail commercial. All right, I just wanted to let y'all know of that process. We're going to fill that out. All right? Great. Yeah, I think 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock.
Peace. God's and earth, peace, family. My name is Beloved Allah. I got knowledge in the desert. And when I got knowledge from God, you were still here. Allah, Savior, sincere Allah, judgment, gave me knowledge. 1972. Heard mathematics for the first time. As far back as I could remember, I was great with mathematics when I was young. And I heard for the first time the science of supreme mathematics. And that resonated with me. Also heard that our job was to master a trade or profession and to bring that back to the nation. And so I set out on that course. 1975, I heard about God born Allah at the time. He was in the penitentiary. December 28th, I was knowledge born, traveled to see him. Dannemora prison. We was in a cell block. And I looked around and said, God, I never want to be any place like this. You know what he said? He said, God, you don't have to. You'll do what you have to do on the outside, and they'll do that time. So I stepped forward to that mission. 1981, we established the Sulu Gazette. 1987, we established the Word newspaper. I wrote the greatest story never told. First time documenting the history of the nation. We did our research, we put it in black and white. Along that time, I was still stepping to my job, which was mastering the field of mathematics, physics, science. I majored in engineering. Went to one of the best schools in the country, Columbia University. Now a professional engineer in the state of New York, a partner in one of the dominant engineering firms in the country, AKF Engineers. So I've risen now to the top of my profession. And I've seen how people do building projects. And I came back to the nation, and I got one message to give. And this is it right here. The only thing we got to take away, the gods on earth have the power to build on that law school site, and that's beside us. There were 7 of us, and we went about the process of studying the whole site, answering all the questions. Do we have ownership? We had a long-term lease. We were given a 9-year lease in 1967. Can we build on a long-term lease? The answer is yes. What you need is site control. If you get site control from the city to build, we can build on that site. Number 1, that was ownership. Number 2, it was the site itself. How big was the site? Well, we started going through the mathematics. 100 feet wide, 125 feet deep, 12,500 square feet. We studied the zoning regulations. That area is zoned for residential and commercial and community. They have this process or this rule in real estate called FAR. FAR, floor area ratio. Based on your site, how high can you build? The FAR for that site is 6.5. So you multiply our area that we have, 12,500, times the FAR 6.5, you get a figure, 81,250 square feet. And 6.5 means you go up 6 stories, you can build another half. There's setback requirements that you have to do. In short, it means we could build a 7-story building on God Avenue. You know the address, 2122 Vaughn's God. We're on God Avenue. We can do God stories. So we brought this back, and we had experts in the field, everyone at the top of their profession, and we studied it. So we're at the point now, we're coming to the nation to present it. And the question is this: number 1, now that we know we have the power to build, do we want to build a new building? Or we could stay as how we have been. We could maintain our site the way we've had it for the last 40 years. Or we could build a new building. So that's question number 1. Do we want to build? And then question number 2, if we do want to build, what do we want to build? And then this is the start. When we want to get the greatest minds in the nation, if we do want to build on every one of those questions. I remember years ago, I on video, peace and blessings upon them, who were masters in artistry, designing the flag, Universal Shamgar. We need masters in that. What's the building going to look like? What symbolism would be put into the building? We need masters in real estate. We need masters in education. And the guard just got his PhD in education. We need to bring all of that in to study this one project, to build this one building that we are going to call our own. And as we present it, the one thing that we have to change in our dynamic is it's a paradigm shift in thinking. Ever since we've had the school, there's been others who's come and they want to take the property from us. That should have taught us right there that just having the site is the power to build, because that's all they wanted. That should have taught us alone that we had the power to build. So now we know that. The paradigm shift is, this is not somebody else, this is us, our project, what we want to build. What's it going to look like? What elements it's going to have? None of that's been decided. This is the beginning. This is where we started. And everybody, as a nation as a whole, we got to get behind that one idea. We got to develop one idea and all stand in one. We go to the city as a nation, like we've always done, whenever somebody came out to our site, and we're going to be victorious in this project. Faith. Faith. One more.
Faith.
God of Allah is by owner and maker, and my name is Cypher. And I'm going to deal briefly with regard to what the guards have been talking about. You know, everybody is doing this, they did that, and when they call me into the party, my thought and my consensus and still is if the nation says yes, I'm in. And especially the elders should be brought together to discuss this matter. You know, instead of people, you know, just throwing, you know, like daggers at each other, making, you know, incorrect statements about something they don't know. It just has to be laid out so everybody can have an understanding of what's going on. And personally, as a real estate owner, I say that it's a good project, and I stand as an advocate for the nation. And my interest in it is just to stand in there to make sure that during this process, if it should come to fruition, that means there's going to be jobs available, you know, like for some of our people. And some housing available for some of our people. We are a nation. And our nation members, we need hope. We need social services. We need everything. I can't say, well, we want to just go through the rest of that lease period of 44 years, or with the school looking like that. I really don't understand why anyone would want to move forward. And another thing that I stand firm on is transparency. I've been going to those meetings before the Parliament, and I asked God, I proposed to God, I said, why don't you all just let the earth take care of the finances of this nation? This way it will alleviate a lot of mistrust, distrust, and thinking amongst God, and you can use your mind to wait a minute. So we're not just about money. That's not what we're about. We still have to continue to teach. Let's look back on what the father did. The father went to Lindsay. Lindsay gave from that property. Hey, I think that we should use the same vein as what our father did. Of course, we're not going to be saved. We got to do something for ourselves. We can't just sit there and don't do nothing. Half the time when we have events, church needs money, we don't have money, we don't have anything. But we have all these people. And it's not that the people don't want to give money. I think we have a big trust factor. And once we get past that, I think we can move ahead. And I think that's the main thing that's styling people's mentality. Like you don't trust your brother, or maybe you don't trust your sister. You know? So we got to get past that. Look at the elements of what the development project is about. You know, we bring us into the state of art, we the God of the earth. You know, we can go to a third 25-year history. So I mean, God's already showed and proved their power by the people who came after them trying to take the property, that no, you can't do that. They back up. So why are we still waiting for them to come at us again? Because they're going to keep coming. We can just shut them down, build on our own property. We have enough great minds here. We need to use them. You know, we need to use them. And that's why this presentation is being made in a series, so we can bring about understanding to people and answer questions that they don't have correct and proper answers to. All you got to do is ask. Everyone can be involved. Everyone has a voice. So that's why I've always said, if the nation is for it, I'm ready to move. I've been working for the devil on coming here for 40 years. I'm 66. I don't want to continue to do that. You know, I want to work for my nation. I want to work for my nation. Whatever you say, what we build or what we don't build, I'm still going to be your companion on whatever you decide. But I'm hoping that you decide something that's productive. What is the problem with us building on our own land and maintaining and keeping it strong? I don't get it. I really don't understand it, you know. So, and I say to the naysayers, if you don't understand something, you object it to this. Why don't you come in a civilized manner, as a civilized person, and state what your objections are so they can be dealt with? That's how civilized people build. You know, all this other negativity, you know, people's egos, I don't like you, I don't like you, and they like over here in little circles, oh, don't, you know, it's like, don't go, don't deal with it. Oh, you know, this is what happens. It has to be done. Whether it's done this year, next year, or whatever year, it has to be done. So my thinking is that the project is going to move forward. And when it does, I'm going to be on the ground floor, as I said, advocate. Our brothers and sisters want to qualify for the job opportunities as they are available. They're going to do it. You know? Because I'm not about raising hell. And I'm not going to deal with anything that's not like that. The crime integrity is at stake. And I pride my integrity very highly. I was blessed by law. You know, I wasn't necessarily taught, but I got the blessings, I got the life, I got the power, and it's still in me after all these years. It's our Father. And that's what I'm about. I'm not doing what the Father did. You know what I mean? It says, who are the 5%? There's some dressed poorly, some dressed badly, whatever, and there are those who are the stars of high society type of business. You know, it's about me. Now, we don't want this raggedy, broken down school. Even if the guards do go and make these nominal repairs, we still not with it. And then we do something that's of consequence. Maybe some of our people will become whole. They'll start adding on. They'll start giving. Because we're not all poor. You have people who have a lot of resources. But they don't want to give them because, again, I say, there's this front factor. You know what I mean? So I want to help to eliminate that, because I'm not about stealing anything from anyone. I don't have to. You know, Lord bless me with my ability, I don't get what I want. I'm not trying to take anything. I'm about adding on as my name so defined. Cipher. Add on. That's my job. I take my attributes quite literally. And I'm going to move ahead to what I know we're supposed to do. I'm going to find this project so I have more and management company. Jobs all over the place. Everyone is not going to be employed, but everyone is not looking to be employed. We're just looking to build and establish ourselves in our third mission. We can make this fire for 15 years. Come on. Why we got these bags for the block? You know, we say we 15 feet. This is what stirred me. You know, everyone is like so already, but then when it comes time to show up true, that's not right. So I'm not going to really go too much further on that. I'm just saying, think about it. Bring your questions. Whatever it is that you don't like about it, bring it out here. Ask questions. That's why these presentations are being made, because you cannot go forward without the general consensus of the entire nation. You know, and I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. But I'm telling you, with my voice and my vote, I would like to move forward, you know, for the betterment of our nation. Peace.
Peace. My name is God. My history in this state, I've been here 48 years. I started in February 1965 on 118th Street. The brothers that I ran with, that raised me across the world was Mercy,